Welcome to RSSDI 2020. I'm Dr. Sanjay Kamble, and on behalf of VOCAD RSSDI TV 2020, I welcome you all. I'm glad to have with us today a renowned physician and diabetologist from Chhattisgarh, Dr. Praveen Kalvit. Dr. Praveen Kalvit practices at his clinic, Dr. Kalvit Nursing Home at Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh. Sir has a vast experience in his field, and we are glad to have Dr. Kalvit with us today. Welcome, Dr. Kalvit, to the show. Sir, based on your recent talk in RSSDI, we would like to know, as we know, hyperuricemia is a risk factor for diabetes. So, is there any association between changes which are seen in hyperuricemia and the risk of diabetes?
Yeah, actually, the emerging evidence suggests that hyperuricemia is one of the most important risk factors for development of type 2 diabetes in individuals. And it has been proved over a large number of cohort studies. Over more than 60,000 people have been studied for hyperuricemia and eventual development of diabetes down the years. The basic mechanism how hyperuricemia poses a potential threat or risk for development of diabetes is by causing what is called as a interference with insulin signaling system, right? It materially interferes with the signaling system at the microsomal levels, and it also causes significant contribution towards inflammatory conditions. That is, significantly improves the inflammatory markers in the circulations like TNF alpha, IL-6, and CRP, and various other factors. Few of the factors, very interestingly, we know we've been taking cognizance of managing patients with recent COVID pandemic because IL-6 and this CRP levels have been taken into consideration while evaluating the patient for the complications from COVID. So, needless to say, all these pro-inflammatory markers which are significantly raised and significant alteration with insulin signaling mechanism is one of the important reasons why patients with underlying hyperuricemia have got high chances of development of diabetes down the line. And it has been said that almost in a this hyperuricemia, it also causes significant rise in insulin resistance. In a way, you can say hyperinsulinemia and hyperuricemia, they go hand in hand. Higher the serum uric acid level, higher the insulin resistance. And if you have higher insulin resistance, you have got high chances of development of diabetes in future also. So that's how it is very closely linked. And now we are giving more attention for management of hyperuricemia as a threat for future development of diabetes mellitus.
So, what is the line of management of elevated serum uric acid levels, which are seen in asymptomatic diabetes patients?
I told you it is one of the precursors, and all efforts must be done, all actions must be taken to restrict the elevation in uric acid levels. Some are genetically predisposed to have elevated uric acid levels, but those who are otherwise, by virtue of the factors which are preventable or controllable or modifiable, these factors, you can say, we ask them to restrict their alcohol consumption significantly. We ask them to restrict their protein intake significantly. And interestingly enough, one of the very recent evidences suggests that if a person is taking surreptitiously high ingestion of fructose, fructose also contributes for significant development of hyperuricemia, and the mechanism stated that for metabolism of fructose, you use lot of ATP. And when you deplete body ATP stores, you eventually give rise to a lot of adenosine diphosphates and monophosphates, AMPs and ADPs. And these eventually contribute for development of uric acid levels in the body. So these are something which are called as a modifiable by virtue of diet. And when all these efforts fail, all these modalities of treatment fail, you have to take up help of some pharmaceutical agents, therapeutic agents, and the agents, one of the most commonly used drugs these days is a febuxostat. That comes to your rescue and significantly reducing the elevated uric acid levels. And it is quite common in our clinical practice to find that in a time span of less than 6 weeks, your elevated uric acid levels are significantly brought down to desirable levels of around 3.5 to 4 milligrams percent. So you have got both lifestyle modification, change in the diet, and as well as the therapeutic help also, the medicinal help that comes to your health
So,
restrictions.
what are the key challenges in the management of hyperuricemia, especially in the subset of those diabetes patients who have got associated comorbidities?
Well, it's quite common observation that diabetes per se doesn't go alone. It is usually associated with number of comorbid conditions like obesity, hypertension, and in fact, you can say that diabetes is one of the components of metabolic syndrome, wherein you have got hyperlipidemia, hypertension, obesity, and many other biochemical abnormalities. And when you try to target each of these physiological abnormalities or biochemical abnormalities, you take help of certain different medicines also, like hypertension, diabetes, dyslipidemia, then strokes. In such a situation, you are tempted to use drugs like aspirin for preventing hypercoagulability of the blood. So this aspirin smaller doses has been also been found to contribute to development of hyperuricemia. There are other drugs, for example, for control of hypertension, you use diuretics, and the thiazide diuretics are one of the important drugs which tend to rise serum uric acid levels significantly. Like that, different groups which are used for controlling the abnormalities of hypertension lipids, they also contribute to elevation of uric acid level. But realizing this, we do not stop usage of these drugs. What is important for us is to continue usage of the drugs and take help of the medicines which have got direct effect on reducing serum uric acid levels directly. We can't stop patients from taking aspirin. We may change over to different set of diuretics, but the basic class effect of the diuretic is going to remain same. So this is really a challenging issue, but as an astute clinician, as a clinician who is well aware of the basic pharmacology, and that's why we said the medicine people, the MD medicine people, has to be very much thorough in the basic pharmacology of the drugs also, so that when he is floored with a cafeteria choice of drugs, multiple drugs as a therapeutic option is laid in front of him in the basket. He has to pick up the drug, realizing the associated disadvantages or associated side effects of the drug, so that he is able to take your patient to a perfect target level without meeting any significant side effects or disadvantages of the drug. So it is only clinical acumen and thorough knowledge of the pharmacology. Many a times you end up using some drugs which are interacting amongst themselves and giving rise to hyperuricemia per se. Your target is to reduce hyperuricemia by choosing such group of drugs, you tend to elevate serum uric acid level. So this confusion shouldn't be there. You should be very thorough in basic clinical pharmacology of the drug.
So thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your views, and stay tuned to RSSDI TV 2020 for more recent updates from RSSDI. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.